In the heart of ancient Babylon, a city renowned throughout history for its grandeur and enterprising spirit, there lived a man whose wealth and wisdom would become the stuff of legend. This man was Arkad, the richest man who ever lived in Babylon. His story, as told by George S. Clason, is not merely a tale of riches and gold, but a timeless lesson in the principles of financial success, personal discipline, and the path from humble beginnings to abundance. Babylon was a city of striking contrasts. Its towering walls and majestic temples spoke of immense prosperity, yet its bustling streets were also filled with those who struggled to make ends meet. Among the many citizens was Bansir, a chariot builder of modest means, who, despite his skill and hard work, found himself perpetually short of money. One day, as he sat on the low wall of his modest dwelling, his friend Kabi, a musician, approached him. Kabi, like Bansir, was troubled by the same recurring problem. Despite their labor and dedication, neither could escape the grip of poverty. In their frustration, they began to question why some people seemed to accumulate wealth so effortlessly while others, no less deserving or industrious, struggled to get by. They recalled their old friend Arkad, who, though once as poor as themselves, had risen to become the wealthiest man in Babylon. His success was no accident, they reasoned, and so they resolved to seek his counsel. Arkad welcomed his friends warmly and listened to their grievances with understanding. He explained that the difference between those who build wealth and those who do not lies not in luck or circumstance, but in knowledge and discipline. He began to share the fundamental principles that had guided him from poverty to prosperity. Principles simple yet powerful, which anyone, regardless of their means, could apply. The first lesson Arkad imparted was this: a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Too often, people spend every coin they make, leaving nothing for the future. Arkad advised that no matter how much one earns, it is essential to set aside at least a tenth of every income received. This act of paying oneself first, he explained, is the cornerstone upon which all wealth is built. As savings accumulate, they become the seeds from which fortune grows. But saving alone is not enough. Arkad taught that money, like a worker, should be put to labor. He compared coins to slaves. If set to work wisely, they would earn more coins, multiplying the original sum. He cautioned, however, that one must invest only where the safety of the principal is assured, and where the advice of those experienced in handling money is heeded. Rash ventures and the promise of quick riches, he warned, often lead to loss rather than gain. Arkad also spoke of the importance of controlling expenditures. Human desires are endless, he said, but one's income is finite. It is easy to mistake wants for needs and to let spending swell to match earnings. The wise person, therefore, distinguishes between necessity and luxury, ensuring that expenditures do not outpace income. By budgeting carefully, one can provide for essential needs, enjoy some of life's pleasures, and still set aside a portion for the future. Protecting wealth from loss was another of Arkad's maxims. He emphasized the need for prudence and diligence in all matters of finance. Investments should be chosen with care, and one should always seek the counsel of those knowledgeable in the field. Arkad recounted tales of his own missteps in youth, when the allure of easy profits led to bitter losses. Through these experiences, he learned to value caution, research, and sound judgment above reckless ambition. Arkad did not advocate hoarding wealth for its own sake. Rather, he believed in the enjoyment of life, the fulfillment of responsibilities, and the sharing of prosperity with others. He spoke of the joys of providing for one's family, supporting worthwhile causes, and leaving a legacy for future generations. True wealth, he insisted, brings freedom, security, and the ability to pursue one's highest aspirations. As Arkad's lessons spread throughout Babylon, many began to adopt his principles. The city, already famed for its commerce and innovation, became a beacon of financial wisdom. Men and women from all walks of life discovered that by living below their means, investing wisely, and cultivating self-discipline, they too could rise above poverty and build lasting prosperity. The story of Arkad and his teachings is not confined to the sands of ancient Babylon. Its relevance endures, echoed in the lives of countless individuals who have applied its truths to their own circumstances. The laws of gold, as Arkad called them, remain unchanged through the centuries. They speak to the universal human desire for security and abundance, and they offer a roadmap for anyone willing to walk the path of patience, diligence, and wisdom. To understand the enduring appeal of Arkad's story, one must look beyond the specific details of ancient Babylon and recognize the broader truths it conveys. Each lesson is grounded in common sense and the realities of human nature. The principle of paying oneself first acknowledges the ease with which earnings slip away unless deliberately set aside. The warning against reckless investment reflects the perennial dangers of greed and gullibility. The emphasis on budgeting and self-control speaks to the temptations that confront everyone, regardless of era or culture. Arkad's rise to wealth was not without its challenges. He began as a humble scribe, earning a meager wage for his long hours at the clay tablet. Dissatisfied with his lot, he sought advice from Algamish, a wealthy moneylender. Algamish's guidance was simple yet profound. "I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to get." Inspired, Arkad began to save diligently, resisting the urge to spend all he earned. He endured setbacks, risky ventures that failed, losses incurred through inexperience, but he persisted, learning from each misstep. Over time, Arkad's savings grew. He invested carefully, taking advice from those skilled in their trades. His money began to work for him, generating returns that accelerated his progress. Eventually, Arkad not only achieved financial independence, but also became a source of wisdom for others. His generosity in sharing his knowledge multiplied his influence, and his story became a beacon of hope for all who aspired to rise above their circumstances. The lessons of Arkad are as relevant today as they were in the days of Babylon. In a world of rising costs, easy credit, and ever-present temptation to spend, the discipline to set aside a portion of one's income is more vital than ever. The wisdom to invest prudently, to seek advice from those with experience, and to avoid the pitfalls of get-rich-quick schemes remains essential. The ability to distinguish between needs and wants, and to live within one's means, is the foundation upon which financial security is built. Yet the story of Arkad is not solely about money. It is also a tale of character, self-mastery, and the pursuit of purpose. Building wealth, Arkad reminds us, is not an end in itself, but a means to greater freedom, responsibility, and fulfillment. True wealth is not measured solely in coins or possessions, but in the richness of life, freedom from worry, the ability to care for loved ones, and the opportunity to contribute to the welfare of others. The principles outlined by Arkad have inspired countless people to transform their financial lives. By embracing the habit of saving, investing with care, and exercising discipline in spending, individuals have discovered the power to shape their destinies. The story of Arkad stands as a testament to the potential within each person to overcome adversity, acquire knowledge, and achieve lasting success. As the sun set over the ancient city, casting long shadows over its broad boulevards and bustling marketplaces, the wisdom of Arkad continued to illuminate the path for all who sought prosperity. His teachings, passed from generation to generation, became woven into the fabric of Babylonian life. They guided merchants in their dealings, artisans in their craft, and families in their homes. The riches of Babylon, built on the foundation of these principles, endured long after its walls had crumbled, and its kings had faded into history. Reflecting on the enduring legacy of Arkad, one is reminded that the road to wealth is open to all who are willing to learn, to act, and to persist. No matter one's starting point, the principles of saving, investing, and wise living can lead to abundance. The journey requires patience, humility, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. But the rewards, security, freedom, and the ability to live life on one's own terms are worth every effort. The story of the richest man who ever lived is more than a tale of gold and prosperity. It is a guide to living with intention, making wise choices, and building a life of meaning and purpose. In the words of Arkad himself, "Wealth, like a tree, grows from a tiny seed. The first copper you save is the seed from which your tree of wealth shall grow. The sooner you plant that seed, the sooner shall the tree grow. And the more faithfully you nourish and water that tree with consistent savings, the sooner may you bask in contentment beneath its shade." So, whether you find yourself in the shadow of Babylon's ancient walls or the bustling streets of the modern world, the lessons of Arkad remain as relevant and as powerful as ever. They offer a blueprint for anyone who seeks to rise above circumstance, take control of their financial destiny, and build a legacy of prosperity for themselves and generations to come. Remember, the richest man who ever lived was not born into wealth, nor did he stumble upon it by chance. He built his fortune patiently, step by step, guided by principles that are timeless and universal. His story is a reminder that anyone, regardless of background or circumstance, can achieve financial success through knowledge, discipline, and the courage to act. As you reflect on the wisdom of Arkad, consider how you might apply his lessons in your own life. Begin today by setting aside a portion of your income, however small, and committing to the habit of saving. Educate yourself about sound investment opportunities. Seek advice from those with experience, and avoid the lure of easy riches. Exercise discipline in your spending, distinguishing between necessity and desire, and remember always to protect your wealth from loss. Above all, recognize that true wealth is not measured solely in material terms. It is found in the freedom to pursue your dreams, the security to care for those you love, and the satisfaction of knowing that you have lived with wisdom and intention. The story of Arkad is a testament to the power within each of us to shape our destiny, to rise above adversity, and to build a life of abundance and meaning. Let the example of the richest man who ever lived inspire you to begin your own journey toward prosperity. Plant the seed of wealth today. Nourish it with knowledge and discipline, and watch as it grows into a mighty tree, offering shade and shelter for years to come. The path is open to all who are willing to walk it, and the rewards, as Arkad discovered, are beyond measure.